Hello, hello. Hope all is well. I pray that you find Jesus every time you visit, where we share Christ centered content via to your screen, whether it's present truth, cooking plant based meals, interviews, poetry, documentaries, and much, much more. Well, without any further delay, I would like to share with us a lentil burger recipe. That's right, a plant based burger. You don't want to miss this, so stay tuned. All right, I already have my ingredients all ready and prepped to go in order to make these lentil burgers. So you can see the parsley, the turmeric. I have the ingredients on the screen here. So you might want to take a screenshot or copy it down if you'd like as you follow along in this recipe. All right, so parsley is great. I love parsley, whether it's dried or fresh. We have the sesame oil, the turmeric, and we have the sea salt. Now, I prefer Celtic salt because it's just stronger in salt flavor, but Himalayan and sea salt are just as good. But for this recipe, I will use the Himalayan sea salt. All right, so we're going to begin our demonstration. All right, so as you can see, I have my lentils already pre-soaked from overnight last night, which I highly encourage to do because especially it's very favorable for digestion. You want to soak your beans. And I'm just going to fill it up here with water and then I'm going to boil it. All right, so you want to boil it for about 30 minutes. You don't want to be too soft because you're making burgers. So I'm just testing the tenderness and it looks like it's pretty about ready. All right, so I got my strainer, just making sure all the excess fluid is extracted and separated from the lentils. Now, when I look at this, I think of the shaking, just like how God's people, when we hear the straight testimony, those who are solid and firm in Christ will not be shaken out. So you want to add cold water onto the lentils once it's finished cooking and boiling because it's extremely hot. So you don't want it to overcook either. You still want to have that texture, that nice firmer texture. It's not mushy. And so I'm just stirring it to make sure that it's thoroughly cool or cold all around. Because remember, I'm going to bake it for another 30 to 35 minutes in the oven. So we don't want to overcook it either and still retain the nutrients. All right, just about this time, you want to preheat the oven at 350 Fahrenheit. All right, so as you can see here, we have the 3 cloves of garlic. So I'm just going to quickly chop it up here fine. Nice and fine. Garlic is so beneficial. Good for the immune system. And it adds flavor to whatever you're preparing, whether you're sauteing a meal, a sauce, or just want to put over your salad. We love garlic, so we put this over our salad. We could shred it in any way you like it, but for this one, I will chop these fine. All right, so this is ready to go into the bowl. And it's ready to add the rest of the ingredients. All right, so in the meantime, I am just lightly greasing the pans so that it doesn't stick and it's not completely dry. And now we're ready for the next step. All right, so now I'm going to add all the ingredients that you saw in the beginning of this video. I already have here the chopped garlic. Now I'm throwing over the cooked lentils, the cold water, all the water is completely drained. And then I'm going to add the 1 cup of potato flakes and the 1 cup of quick oats. They're very binding, and so it's a good way to keep things together. Added the rest of my ingredients here, the parsley flakes and the turmeric. These are healthy ingredients. Turmeric is very good for anti-inflammatory. And I have here the sesame seed oil. Now, some may be allergic to sesame, so as an alternative, you could use, again, you could use perhaps grapeseed oil. Would be a good alternative. Now, these oils are high heat oils. They can tolerate as hot as 350. And so there you have it. I'm now going to add a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of the salt. Now, again, this is to your discretion and liking flavor. Some people, because their palates, they're adjusted accordingly to whatever they're used to. Of course, we should always favor health over our palates, but we want to make sure it is palatable. So I like my foods to be palatable, so I'm going to add the salt. And I'm going to add, now the sauce that I'm adding here has already sea salt inside. So this is why I say to your discretion how much more salt you want to add. So I am mixing everything together now, thoroughly. Make sure the ingredients are well mixed in together to taste all the flavors. You want to make sure you get all the flavors in there so that when you put this together, you will taste all the flavors in your burger. All right. Now you can use, I do have an electronic whisk as well, but I wouldn't use it for this one just because it's usually better with more liquid inside. And I don't want mine to look all soggy. I like mine's more on the firmer side. And so, and again, too, the oats kind of help soak it up even more. But because I added the sauce, which already has liquids inside, which is why I'm not going to use the whisk. But yeah. So there you have it. It's ready now to be shaped up. But I'm just adding more sauce there. Again, it's to your liking and flavor. I like mine to be flavorful. So we're going to now go on to the next step. So stay tuned. Okay, we're at the step now that we're going to shape these burgers and place them in the oven. So I have my batch here. So we're gonna form little, make sure it's nice and, see what the oats and potatoes tend to do because of the starch, it helps to pull things together. Like that. So you could roll it if you want. You could squeeze, I would squeeze it, you know, just to kind of pull it together. You want to squeeze out some of the excess, right? You shape it. There you go. Looking nice and circular. I could smell it already. Like, woo! I can smell it. And now, I'm gonna put it there like that. There you go. Shape it again. So you just have fun with it, you know, you take your time, form these shapes. Press it down a bit if you'd like to give that burger type appearance, plant-based that is, of course. It's a great alternative if you're transitioning to a plant-based diet from meat, you know, instead of using the, as my mom would call it, plastic or imitation meats, you want to use a healthy protein like lentils, which is very healthy. Lentils are full of protein and iron and so many amazing nutrients and benefits. Plus, it has a brownish color as well. You could also add, if you'd like, a little bit of molasses. I tend to do that sometimes when I make the burgers to give that browning color, but also give that sweet, a little bit of a sweet kick. You know, you want to put a little bit of sweet salt to give that little balanced flavor of a little bit of sweet salt flavor. Now, to your discretion, you could add more salt to the recipe. The reason why I'm not adding too much more salt is because the paste tomato has sea salt already. Not regular table salt, sea salt. Why you want to use sea salt? Because sea salt has minerals versus table salt does not have the minerals. So you want to use sea salt because it's a healthier choice. Right? So, alrighty. There. So as you can see, it's ready to go in the oven. So you can see here that I have two sets of burgers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I have 20 burgers here. I'm going to bake it in the oven for, I would say, about 30 to 40 minutes. I would say 30 minutes just to check. And we'll see how it looks afterwards. So stay tuned. So that's it. We're going to now wait and see how the lentil burgers are going to turn out. This is a great healthy alternative for those who are transitioning from a meat diet to a plant-based diet. And in case for those who may be allergic to soy, which is commonly used as veggie meats, it's a great healthy alternative to those who are allergic to soy. Lentils is rich in protein, fiber, and it has iron. It's rich in iron as well. And so it's a great way to transition, especially from eating red meat, which is commonly used in burgers. And not only that, there's zero cholesterol. And so it's a great fun activity you could do with your children as well as a family. Children love to make, especially when they play with Play-Doh, except they're using real food, right? To make shapes, and it's a great activity for them and get to help them to mold and fashion. Just like how Christ, he likens us unto like clay, right? Where he molds us and fashions us into his liking. And so as you're doing and working your hands in the kitchen, I couldn't help but to think to Christ of how he desires to mold and fashion us. Just like how we make bread, same thing. And so stay tuned to see how these lentil burgers will turn out. All right, so it looks like 35 minutes later, the burgers are done. I'm going to have my son try it, so he's going to be my first critic. And you know children are very honest, right? Something's good or not too good. All right, let's find out. All right, you going to try the burger, son?
Yeah.
What do you think? Is it good?
Yes, it's good.
Not missing any salt?
No.
All right, so give it a thumbs up. All right, thank you for your honest critique. Enjoy your burger. All right, so if you'd like, once they cool down, you can bag them and freeze it so it stays in the same texture whenever you are ready to use them. You can make a lot, of course. But if you make at least 20, I made 20 burgers. This recipe yields 20 burgers, so I would freeze probably half and then use what you're using for today and tomorrow, depending how big of a family you are. And if you say a typical family of 3 or 4, let's say, on average, you could probably do away with 2 burgers each, right? And then the rest you could freeze. Or if you're a really big family of 3 or more children, well, again, it is to your discretion how much you need to use. You can always triple the recipe depending how big your family is, or if you're making it for a church. All right, so that's it. All right, that's it. And so if you're new to this channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button for more videos that are Christ-centered, where we share documentaries, plant-based meals, country living, present truth, current events, and much, much more. All right, so make sure you like this video so that it goes out and helps somebody out there who may be seeking to switch from a meat eating diet to a plant-based eating diet and still get the benefits that they need and look for. All right, and also make sure you comment in under the section below to let me know if you had tried or you will be trying it, and I would love to know how it turned out for you. Again, I always tell people when you're doing these recipes, it is to your liking and discretion. So some may want to add a little bit more salt, some because maybe for dietary restrictions, they may require less salt. Although you want to make sure your food is palatable, so I would adjust accordingly. But because I had only 8 ounces boiled of lentils, and I used the sauce that has already salt, again, it's to your discretion. You want to make sure it's flavorful and palatable and the flavors are all in there. So when you're eating it, it's healthy, but also palatable. That's the key. You don't want it to be bland. All right. That's it. And so thank you once again for tuning in. Make sure you share this video and like, comment, and subscribe. Blessings. All right, fellow subscribers, I am happy to announce that we have here received the apron, which says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me, Philippians 4:13. So if you feel perhaps not confident in the kitchen and you need a little bit of boost of encouragement, I pray that this apron will do just that. Of course, every woman is encouraged to learn palatable and healthful meals, not only in order to feed your family healthfully, but you definitely want to make sure that God is glorified. All right, so make sure you stop by at the store and see some other cool items we have. Thank you so much for your love and support. If you're new to the channel, you are welcome to subscribe to it. You will also find me wearing this apron when I'm doing future plant-based meals on the channel. So stay tuned and feel free to get your hands on this quality apron. God bless.